Show. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody, to It's Time to Get Serious. Let's talk about the anatomy of Notre Dame's tough schedule edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps me as well. Notifications on. You and I both know why. That way you alerted every time a new episode drops. You don't want to miss it. I know that. Twitter. Search bar. Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails. alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only. Anywhere you want me, you can locate me. The call-in lines. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Fighting Irish Wire. Booty-doo-doo. Type them words in your computer. Notre Dame stories come out of it. It's amazing. It's beautiful. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. Here's the deal. The season's coming right around the bend, and I don't mean south, although it applies to that too. Football time's almost here. What do we got? About 5 weeks, and then we'll have actual games back. I can't wait. Give it to me. I need it. It's been a long, excruciating, stressful offseason for Notre Dame people. We're ready for games again. Let's see what we got. Let's see how much Hartman can raise the bar. Damn it. I'm ready. And so we've been doing a lot of talking here about recruiting and the big picture of Notre Dame and our standing with NIL and the administration being modern or not modern and all these different kind of things. I want to start shifting our focus back into the actual football stuff. Now, I want to start. It is nothing but frustration. Us all debating philosophy all summer, every single day on how, the big picture and how do you change the old administration's viewpoint, all of that. I need a little break from that. We're going to steer this back into the actual on-field, start talking about the season now. All right. And so with that in mind, I am starting to see some national stuff come out already talking about what a tough schedule Notre Dame has. And I guess that's really nice. Just to have that recognition of people acknowledging already this is a very tough, challenging schedule. And if Notre Dame makes it far and has a good year, they are going to deserve everything they get because it isn't going to be easy. I like seeing some national people give us that credibility with other fan bases. However, you're not going to get that. Like, it doesn't matter. The facts are not the facts to these people that have a blind hatred for Notre Dame to the point where they're going to ignore reality. And there are people that hate us so much, they will just ignore the numbers and tell them it's a tough schedule and say Notre Dame don't play anybody. You're never going to be able to change the minds of those people because facts don't even register to them. All right. And I remember many years ago, before I even had the studio and we moved into this house and I built this room and did all this, and I was recording in my own office after hours after work. I remember talking about the 2-year window, scheduled window that we're in right now, last year and this year. And how BK better figure out quarterbacks and get a lot more talent before we hit this window, or it's going to be time. Now, ironically, we're right in the middle of this window trying to navigate it, but with no Kelly. Go figure, Life's wild, isn't it? How quick things turn on you. And that leads me to this. One thing I think about often about last year is how much we all need to value and cherish each and every Notre Dame game. Now, I realize they can't all naturally, intuitively make you feel the way Ohio State and USC are going to make you feel. But I think they got to feel more important in some way than they have recently and lately to Notre Dame fans. And what I mean by that is I just see way too many Notre Dame fans taking games for granted. And it just makes me nervous. Like, how could you do that after Marshall and Stanford and all that? And I was in South Bend for both of those games last year. The place was dead. I mean, there was no vibe. There was just no vibe. There was no energy. There was no nothing. It was hot out. It was Marshall and Stanford. Whoop-de-dip. There was no juice. There was no juice. And so I just think we all need to do a little better job of embracing every single Notre Dame home game, especially as being a big damn deal. It's only a handful of them a year. They need to be a huge deal. Now, I'm a fair guy. I may be at fault for causing some of this nonchalance by talking about the marquee three all the time. And they always come up on the call-in show. But just look at how different things would have felt for Notre Dame fans last year had we not choked against Marshall and Stanford. 10-2 would feel so different right now. Could have been better for recruiting. It seems like the team overlooked some of these teams, and maybe our fans did too. But when I look at this year, I already see a lot of people overlooking a lot of things on this schedule. Wasn't last year a lesson? I don't know how Notre Dame fans can look at anybody and go, oh, chalk that one up to a W. You lost to Stanford and Marshall at home last year at 17.5-point favorites to both. How could you overlook anybody? Let's go through it a little bit. Navy, I ain't here for a history lesson. Save it. On the field, playing Navy is my least favorite game, and it's a no-win for Notre Dame every year. How? Number one, even if Navy's good, you get no national credit for beating Navy. And then if you lose to Navy, then you get ridiculed for losing to Navy. It's a no-win. Two, their style shortens games by intent and therefore lessens the talent gap a little bit. That's the reason you shorten those games on purpose. All right? That's always dangerous. That's just always dangerous. They want to shorten a game. You have less possessions. You can't do as much dumb stuff because you're not going to get as many possessions to gain back those points. Okay? So that's always dangerous. I'm not saying it's illegal or intentional, but the way they block and do things has a unique physical toll. That's also rough. Coaches all the time talk about the unique recovery right after playing Navy for their guys. That's an issue. And then the third thing, it just takes time to prepare for Navy. It's unique. You know, you got to prepare for them, and it's a unique kind of prep. And we must have not done a good job of it last year because if that game went on 5 more minutes, we'd probably lose it. We gave up 200-something yards to the fullback dive. That is defending the option part 1, how to stop the fullback dive, and we gave up 200 yards to that guy last year. Awful, unacceptable. How can Al Golden be around defensive football for 50 years and then not have Notre Dame guys defending the fullback dive? It's absolutely amazing to me that was where we're at. It's just the most basic premise of defending option football, and we couldn't do it. So, listen, I do like playing them first. There is no excuse to defend them poorly when you have all of August to prep for them if you need it, not just a few days in the middle of a busy season, week to week. No, you have all of August to get ready to defend that team. You have no excuses. Zero. None. Okay? So I do like playing them first because you can just get it out of the way and use that prep time. You have the full camp to prepare. The other interesting things is you have the travel to Ireland, which is unique for both teams. They have a new coach. Remember, Coach Ken's gone. So it's week 1. You're always going to have a little anxiety in a week 1 about what you're going to see and how sharp are we going to be and this and that. All right. So I need this figured out. And so, but I don't understand how any Notre Dame fan could just brush off, oh, it's just Navy, forget them, after what we did last year and didn't play great against them. You can't do that. So I got to see that all tighten up. I want to see the run game blast off, but I also want to see Artman throw the ball around a little bit and put on film right away week 1 for everybody to see. Yeah, Notre Dame's going to be able to throw it around, and you better get ready for that. I want to put that on tape week 1. I want a good run game and a good pass game. Why? Just because we want to, and we can, which is rarely said for a Notre Dame passing game downfield that isn't all to the tight ends, right? So that's the deal with Navy. No Notre Dame fan could overlook them because we struggled with them last year. All right. Next, Tennessee State. I guess they have some speed, but are severely undersized up front. It's a game that isn't going to have national buzz and narrative and all that stuff. It is going to be hot. It's just going to be one of those games. This is all built up into the Freeman, Eddie George, HBCU. Like they have this whole angle of that societal part. That is going to be the focus of all the media build up for this game, which is fine. I just can't have you forget you're there to beat ass and win the game. All right. Not all this societal angle. And at the end of the day, it's a football game. And I need you to beat the hell out of that team. Okay. But I'm figuring they're going to have some speed, but be undersized. And so, F around to find out. Like, you know what I'm saying? South Florida style. You mess around, you find out at home early in the year. I got that scar tissue. You can't let it happen again. And I'm not going to end this bullet point without saying I wanted Notre Dame to never play an FCS ever and have that branding forever that you didn't do that. And now that's over, and I don't like that at all. Probably matters less practically in the new playoff era anyways. But I just don't like it because I used to like to lean on that crutch of, Notre Dame's not doing that. They're not cheaping out to get an easy win and schedule high school and all that jazz, right? But I'm just telling you, you could get in a sleepwalk danger, like a sun haze sometimes. I've seen that. Out in the sun all day and people are just kind of tired and out of it and they drank and it's just kind of like there's not a good, exciting vibe. That's a recipe for disaster. Don't let it happen. How about this? After that, NC State. Hot away game, noon there in the middle of that sun in September in the Carolinas. 8-5 last year, I believe. I think they may take a little step back. Overall, I think they're going to take a little step back, but this should be Notre Dame's first real physical test. I'm not saying overall skill level, but their first physical test. Navy shouldn't be that. Tennessee State shouldn't be that either. That's what I'm looking for in that NC State is how does Notre Dame match up with some of their physicality? That will be the best of the big first 3 tests is in that. So that's what I want to see there. Then we have the always Irish tailgate game / AKA Central Michigan. And Notre Dame better play good and have a good day then, because I do not want to be linked to us marshaling ourselves or something. And everybody knows John had this big tailgate and then the team pooped themselves. So you better do good to maintain my good name, damn it. Don't besmirch my brand with your no-shows at home. So that's it. This cannot be Ball Statey. This one feels awfully Ball Statey to me already from a few years ago. And Johnny don't like it. I don't like it at all. But do not ruin my day and my group event. All right? Take care of business, damn it. I don't want you ruining all of our group's day. Take care of business. Taking care of business every way. Do it. All right. There's your first window. Should provide Notre Dame a pretty good, smooth ramp up to Ohio State if they navigate things in the real world. Like, for us not to be undefeated, really bad stuff has to be going on. Come on, man. You got to ramp up that first block with all those wins. Then you get to Iowa State. I'm not even going to talk about it because we talk about it every day. I wanted to kind of highlight the stuff around the marquee three. So I'm not going to go over Iowa State and what a big deal it is and why and what's on the line and all that. We all know. Duke, 9-4 last year. Our old man we all trusted, admire, and respect at the helm. It's dangerous, folks. I said it before and I'll say it again. This might be one of the most dangerous games on here. Trappy of all traps. Whether Notre Dame fans and the team's emotions are high or low, they're going to be running dry either way. Whether we are all miserable or happy after Iowa State, the emotions are going to be running on E heading into that next week. Danger, danger, danger. This is where I need to see Notre Dame be mentally strong. Whether it's don't let one loss turn into another one on you and snowball if it goes bad against Ohio State. And on the flip side, if you beat Ohio State, not letting it go to your head that you just won the Super Bowl and to know there's more work to do. This is where maturity and mental strength come in. I need Notre Dame guys to be disciplined mentally and get themselves in the space I need them to win this game, no matter what happened against Ohio State the week before it. All right? That parlays you into another tricky one at Louisville. You know this is going to be a blackout at night. They don't even have a big bowl wraparound stadium or any of that. They got the old bleachers and it isn't that big, but I'm telling you what, that place could get pretty loud and pretty wild for a small place in a night game. It can. Only if you let it. Only if you let it. It can get loud and wild. Only if you allow it. I need Notre Dame to not even allow that to be feasible or possible, okay? And so that's tricky as well. But now what I want you to focus on is look at this block of games. Ohio State, at Duke, at Louisville, USC. That's a big window right there. That's assuming nothing dumb happens. I mean, that could be the meat of the schedule that determines Notre Dame where they're going to be. It has two of the big three bookending it, and then a couple tough road trips to Duke and Louisville. And again, it's like, I know some people are going to go, John, you're such a loser. Why are you talking like we have to worry about these other games? Have you ever heard of Marshall or Stanford? That's why. If Notre Dame took care of business and had a history of always doing that, I wouldn't have all these worries to the extent I do. But we do not. We do not. Okay? So I would be irresponsible to not message what could go wrong in these games, since a lot of things went wrong in a lot of games last year. I'm just bringing it up. I'm not trying to manifest problems. I just need you to know what we're up against and what could go wrong. So that block of games is so huge. Ohio State, Duke, Louisville, USC. That is a good little middle of the season slate. So then you have SC, and again, just like Ohio State, we all know what the deal is with that. Then you have a bye. Then you have Pitt. I know Notre Dame fit. It's like, it's sleepy old Pitt. What do they got going on? LaShawn McCoy, whatever. 9-4 last year. I know it's like, it's blah. It's Pitt football is so just blah. 9-4 last year. They have a history of causing Notre Dame some issues in certain years, depending on how they're built. You can't overlook that. And that's after a bye. And I always have that question of, I never really fully trust how Notre Dame's going to come out of a bye, whether they're going to sleepwalk and it throws them off, or they're going to be better because they needed the rest to get healthy. Byes make me nervous, all right? I never just feel like I know exactly what I'm going to get coming out of a bye. All right? Then you got the trip to Death Valley. Here's my biggest question about that is, what's going to be on the line for both teams by the time we get into November? That's my big question. What is going to be on the line or not for both of these teams by the time the calendar gets into November? This game could mean the world to everybody, or it can mean not much to one team or both of us, depending on those records and what we both got. So I don't know, but that's going to be tricky. Then you have a bye, another bye. They're both later in the year, and then you have Wake and Stanford. Wake lost their best player. Well, where did he go? We got him. So is it revenge time for Wake? They have decent coach, I think. Is it revenge time for Wake? Or is it like, well, we lost our guy, and now that's how we would have beat Notre Dame, needing that guy. Now we don't have that guy. We're not any good. I don't know. And again, when you get into this part of the year, I want to know what we're playing for too. Are we in a playoff hunt, or do we have 2 or 3 losses and it's like Yaha time? I would like to know the dynamic. Stanford, they suck. And they sucked last year too. But we sucked worse than them on that night. It was completely unacceptable. You know how mad it makes me? We let David Shaw and that stupid smirk on his dumb, arrogant face walk out of here with the win. That guy didn't even want to be at Notre Dame last year. You can see it in his eyes. He knew it was over at Stanford. He knew he had a terrible team. He didn't even look like he wanted to be at the Notre Dame-Stanford game, and he got to walk out of there with the win. We ended him on a silver platter on the way out the door. Hate it. Hate it. Hate it 100%. I'm interested to see if David Shaw has any interest in head coaching again. If he did, take a year of vacation and then reach out to Northwestern. He'd be a great fit. Dealing with smart kids, knowing how to recruit smart kids, knowing you're never going to win anything that matters. He's made for that job. Got a dork personality. It all lines up. It all lines up. So let's just hope when we get to the Wake Stanford part of this schedule that it matters nationally. That's what I need it to be. These things need to matter on the big time. So overall, though, Notre Dame's got to be careful every week. Every week. Last year should have been a wake-up call for Notre Dame fans. You could take nothing for granted, especially when you got a newer operation, a younger head coach trying to find his way, find his footing. You could take nothing for granted. This is too big of a year with too much on the line for everybody involved. For Freeman, for recruiting, for Hartman, for the entire operation overall. This year is huge where we are at. Every game needs to be cherished, and you just got to have full focus, be fully engaged. That goes for the players and the coaches and their responsibilities, and us as fans too, to bring that energy and make sure that these guys know we're behind them and it's a big game. Take care of your business the hard way, navigating this schedule, and see if you can line yourself up for a playoff spot with Sam Hartman. Okay? You will earn it. If Notre Dame makes it that far, they will earn it this year off the merits of this tough schedule. What do you guys think? What did I miss? Do you agree with how I'm looking at this? What do you think? Let me know.